Yes, Gunjan ma'am.
So with your due permission, can we start with the program, ma'am?
Yes, sure, please.
So, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Would like to welcome you all on behalf of Research Foundation of India and IMI Group of Institution. Would like to congratulate all the organizers and the institution for successful conduction of this FDP program. Would like to acknowledge and would like to again congratulate SAPIEN Group of IMI Group of Institution, that is SAPIEN Institute of Management Studies, IMI Business School, Indore Management Institute and Research Center. So hearty congratulations to the organizers and the participants. Here I would like to mention that the program was sponsored by WFSC and I think it's support of I would like to congratulate Research Foundation of India again for the successful conduction of one more FDP for faculties and for the upcoming new faculties, as well as we are training faculties for the development of students in a different manner. India is among the countries that have the highest number of educational institutions and consequently the number of teachers and faculty members. So we have more number of teachers, more number of faculty members, and certainly this fact itself boosts the importance of like faculty development programs. Moreover, it demands a high level of individual and group efforts from participants also to draw maximum learning benefits out of it. I also would like to congratulate the participants for the same. A week-long faculty development program we are concluding today, which started on 2nd August and ended, will be ending today on 9th August 2021, with plenty of learning and experience for the participants who are faculties from institutions across like India. The goal of the program was to enhance teaching techniques and promote research in teaching. All faculties attended the sessions, showed great enthusiasm throughout the week, and we all understand that the upcoming new educational policy also, it is very important for university, for teachers, and also for the students to grow in the field of research. So wonderful agenda has been taken by the IMI Group of Institution, involved research, highly involved the content of research during this faculty development program. So would like to congratulate all the participants and the organizers. The faculty development program held at IMI was in association with RFI, which was based on the theme of innovative teaching, learning methods, and research in law. The session was chaired by so many eminent speakers since day one. So day one was taken by Dr. Mosmi. She's Professor of Geography and Vice Principal, Nagindas Khandawala College, Mumbai. She spoke about the introduction to research. The second day was taken by Professor Dr. Devashri Mukherjee. She is Professor and Head of the Department of Law, Sister Nivedita University, West Bengal. She spoke about the research methodology in law. Third day was taken by Dr. Ringa Stalin, Assistant Registrar Academics, National Law University, Nagpur, Maharashtra. And Sir spoke about the quantitative and qualitative methods in legal research. The fourth day was taken by Dr. Sanjay Sharma, Principal, IMI Institute, Indore. Sir spoke about statistical test and the data analysis in SPSS and its importance in research. The day 5th was taken by Dr. Romi Saini. She is Associate Professor, Marketing, Dean Academics, Jaipuria Institute of Management, Indore. And she spoke about the interdisciplinary research in law. Also, day 6 was taken by Dr. Archana Ranka, Head School of Law, DAVV, Indore. Madam spoke about plagiarism and ethical research in law. Day 7th was taken by Dr. Parul Sharda, Associate Professor, Head of the Department Management, Indore Management Institute. And Madam concluded the whole process of research, how should be presented in the form of report writing. So again, would like to thank and congratulate all the eminent speakers who, spared their valuable time for all the participants and given their contribution for the development of faculties in the field of research in their respective domains. The program was a success in its objective of stimulating the participating in which the theme and the need of research and innovative methods of teaching was discussed. And I'm sure it enabled the participants to develop their applied viewpoint of management subject being taught and develop customized pedagogy with a value addition of research. So, we all know that teachers always play a crucial role in training competencies for future managers or all these students for their future in whichever organization they're going to work, maybe a business model or not-for-profit organization, or say in the field of law, as it was exclusively for the law research FDP. So I'm again, glad to say that, RFI is working day and night for the betterment of educational scenario in all the areas. I again would like to congratulate team RFI, especially Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta sir, Professor Dr. Saurabh Jain sir, and Professor Dr. Ajay Jain sir, along with the team for their wonderful efforts. Also, team IMI, all the conveners, organizers, coordinators, would like to mention convener Professor Rahul Joshi, organizing secretary Dr. Parul Sharda, and coordinators Professor Abhiraj Singh Chauhan and Professor Aditya Narayan Mishra, sir, for their wonderful efforts for the successful completion of their program. And I again, Dr. Gunjan Shukla, welcome you all to the valedictory session of this FDP. Would like to discuss a bit about RFI. RFI is a registered organization, that is Research Foundation of India is registered under Act 1973. Registered organization under the JHEREF under the Government of India Society Act 1973 by the members of higher education. It was recommended, and RFI is strictly working on the social upliftment and higher education quality and Indian research promotions in the form of events like international national conferences, FDPs, workshops, symposiums, and other activities. The mission of RFI talks about, they believe in serving higher education. Or research society strives to advance knowledge about education, higher education, to enhance scholarly inquiry related to education and to promote the use of research to improve education and serve the public good. The vision of RFI talks about the integration of intellectual ideas across the globe to fulfill the thirst of innovation of humanity. About RFI, Research Foundation of India is concerned with improving the educational process by encouraging scholarly inquiries related to education and evaluation by promoting the dissemination and practical application of research results. Research Foundation of India is working for research and development for the higher education, and this foundation was known by Foundation for Research. RFI members are mostly faculty, researchers, graduate students, and diverse and rich expertise in education and research field. They work in range of setting from universities and other academic institutions to research institutes and agencies, school systems, testing companies, and not-for-profit organizations. RFI is international in scope. Nearly 1% of the members represents 15 countries, resides outside India. Over 74% of RFI members report education in primary discipline. Other discipline represented by RFI includes engineering, medical, dental, psychology, statistics, sociology, history, economics, philosophy, anthropology, and political sciences. So far as the board members of RFI is concerned, I would like to again mention Chairman and CEO Dr. Saurabh Jain sir, Chief Managing Director Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta sir, President RFI Ritu Jain, North Board Independent Shri Amit Khan, New Delhi, North South Board President Dr. Priyadarshini, Central Board President Professor Ajay Jain sir, North India President Devdatta Angoria, West Board India President Professor Abhinish Kursurya, National Convener Dr. Rajat Sharma, officers from MP State President Dr. Manish Dubey, MP State President Dr. Sanjay Sar, MP Secretary Dr. Parul Sharda, Vice President CIB Dr. Sangeeta Gupta, Joint Secretary CIB Dr. Subrat Kote, Joint Secretary Indore Zone Ranjana Rajak, President World Virtual Conference for Dr. Prakash, Madhya State Vice President Research and Innovation Wing Dr. Deepali Ambe Prasad, President Indore Zone Sir Kuldeep Agnitri, Dr. Piyush Soni, President Bhopal Zone, Dr. Siddharth Saini, Bhopal President, Dr. Deepti Vice President Indoor Virtual Conference, Dr. Priyanka Chawla. Dr. Sangeeta Johari, Chapter Head and Research and Innovation. Research, like Vice President Research and Innovation, Indore City, Professor Nita Sharma and Mragakshi Tiwari. Vice President Student Wing, Indore, Dr. Kapoor and Dr. Gunjan Shukla. Convener Indore, Dr. Param Malhotra. Chapter Head Indore, Dr. Manish Pandey. Dr. Priyanka Dubey, Chapter Head, City, Madhya Pradesh. Center Board Office Charge, Miss Priyanshi Dubey. Dr. Indira Dixit, Joint Secretary, Student Wing. So would like to again mention the collaborative of all the board members and the team of members, including technical head and program assistant, Mr. Yoga. Every organization or every team can always work with the kind of experienced people heading the team. So again, would like to introduce I always say the lighthouse of Research Foundation of India, Dr. Saurabh Jain sir, currently managing the chairmanship of Research Foundation of India since 2010. He is also appointed as a vice president of World Federation of Science and Technology. Dr. Jain involves in the Research Foundation of India consultancy unit, named Educational Research Analyzer Private Limited, along with he is also involved in the companies like ISSI Consultancy Services, Edu Academia, INC, ARGA, IRGA, ERF, Essentech Private Limited, Bhopal, Bangalore Chapter, Springer Blueprint Publication Delhi, and Blackpearl International Publication California, and many more. He is awarded as a gold medalist in Masters of Technology in Government Engineering College, and he did first doctorate in Power System Engineering and second doctorate in Control System Engineering. We are delighted to have your guidance and your support. Thanks for being there with us as a senior member to RFI family. Would like to invite Dr. Saurabh Jain sir to say a few words about the valedictory function and the FDP program of SNS Law College. So, like to invite Dr. Saurabh Jain sir. Dr. Saurabh Jain sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gunjan Shukla, madam. First of all, I would like to congratulate to organizer S&S Law College Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and thanks to come for this valedictory function. Special thanks to our special participants to make that FDP success. I would like to again congratulate and thanks to Chairman S&S Law College Indore, Madhya Pradesh, Head Management Nikita Pandey, Mrs. Ayushi Gupta, Vice Principal Law S&S College, Dr. Sanjay Sharma ji, Dr. Reena Gupta ji, Professor Rahul Joshi ji, Dr. Paru Sarda, Dr. Pallavi Mane. As we know very well, this faculty development program was on innovative teaching, learning method and research in law. So that was the fantastic title on working for this field of related to law. And I would like to thanks to Dr. Professor Ashok Kumar Gupta ji, Chief Managing Director, Research Foundation of India, Professor Priyadashini Agnihotri, Professor Ajay Jain, all chapter, co-chapter, President and Vice President, Research Foundation of India. So thank you very much. Again, congratulations to participant and guest to make that FDP success. Over to you, Dr. Gunjan Shukla. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for guiding us as always. Moving ahead with the session, would like to hand over the session to Professor Aditya Narayan Mishra now to proceed with the event. Professor Aditya Narayan Mishra. Aditya sir, you there?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, Dr. Gunjan Shukla, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. After the wonderful introductory session by the ma'am, Now it's time to move ahead. Namaskar, a very warm welcome and good afternoon to everyone. I, Adit Narayan Mishra, Assistant Professor, SNS Law College, Indore, feels privileged to welcome all the respected dignitaries, members, faculties, and participants from across the corner of the world to the valedictory functions of the Faculty Development Program on Innovative Teaching Learning Method and Research in Law, which is organized by SNS Law College, Indore, along with Research Foundation of India and JHERF. When you are around enormously successful people, you realize that their success isn't an accident. It's about hard work. So why these words? I would like to call Mrs. Nikita Pandey ma'am, Management Head, IMI Group of Institutions, to provide some word of motivations. Yes, I would like to invite Mrs. Nikita Pandey ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are clearly audible.
Okay. So, very warm good afternoon to all the respected dignitaries of RFI and my dear team members. On behalf of IMI Group of Institutions, I, Nikita Pandey, Management Head of IMI, welcome you all on the last day of FDP and would like to extend my deepest gratitude to all the participants. It was indeed a wonderful experience to listen to the eminent speakers from all over the country. This FDP has taught that an individual assigned for a legal research work assignment should be knowledgeable and enlightened of their fundamental principles and aims and issues of law related to the topic of research undertaken. Thorough and exhaustive knowledge will help in determining and deciding the law in substantial matters and fact. The suggestion for legal research is to research in law is an essential and specific ingredient of the procedure of law rectification. Legal research backs up everything with authentic resources, evidence, and even historical data. You get to have complete knowledge about the issue, and all of the information may be, arranged professionally, improve good analysis tactics, and to develop and to follow a dynamic approach. These kind of FDP and workshop with hands-on experience are very crucial for the growth and development of academicians and students. I congratulate my team for the effective coordination and conduction of this 7 days FDP and look forward to conduct more such knowledgeable sessions in coming future ahead. Thank you so much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your words of motivations. Now, move ahead. A great man attracts great people and knows how to hold them together. So, by these words, I would like to welcome Mrs. Ayushi Gupta ma'am, BP Law, IMI Group of Institutions. We are indeed delighted to have you with us. Now, I request you to deliver the word of appreciation, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Um, a very warm good afternoon to everyone, to all the respected dignitaries of RFI, organizing committee, faculties, and all the participants. Being a law graduate, it becomes my prime responsibility to keep my team and students updated about the recent trends in the area of research and development, and also to inculcate those learnings into academics so that we can be able to craft those responsibilities in the citizens. This 7 day FDP on innovative teaching learning methods and research in law has definitely helped us explore and achieve different objectives for which it was meant to be. I'm happy to state that my faculties are motivating and mentoring students for performing research, and for the national conference to be held tomorrow on emerging issues in law, economics, and business, 9 research papers have been prepared solely by students, which will be published as a book in the International Peer Review Journal. I extend a heartfelt congratulations to my team for the successful production of this FDP. Thank you, and I look forward to witness more such workshops in near future for the betterment of teachers and students. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, sir, CMD, Research Foundation of India, for provide word of blessing and appreciation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. This is Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, CMD RFI. I feel honored to be invited to this faculty development program valedictory section on innovative teaching learning methods and research in law. This FDP was scheduled from 2nd August to 9th August. The date was decided in association with IMI. First day on 2nd August, Dr. Moshmi Datta gave an introduction to research. On 3rd August, Dr. Devshri Mukherjee enlightened us on research methodology in law. Dr. Rangaswamy Stalin spoke about quantitative and qualitative methods in legal research on 3rd day. Dr. Sanjay Sharma enlightened on statistical test and data analysis in SPSS on 5th August. And Dr. Romi Saini on 6th August about interdisciplinary research in law. Yesterday, on Saturday, that is 7th August, plagiarism and ethical research in law by Dr. Archana Raka. Now today is the day 7, and Dr. Parul Sharda will discuss about the report writing. This program is organized by S&S Law College, Indore, and Research Foundation of India and JHERF in association with World Virtual Conference Forum, Indore Management Institute of Research Center, Indore Management Institute, IMI Business School, S&S Law College, Indore, Sapient Institute of Management Studies, Indore. And this was sponsored by World Federation of Science and Technology, International Research Guide Federation, Academic Research Guide Association, Edu Academy. As you know that the activities of Research Foundation of India is carried out by a core group of academic and support staff and a large network of senior academicians in higher education globally. The real challenges about RFI is to expand capacities in higher education to keep ahead of the curve of rising domestic and global demand. Its mission is to improve the quality and standard of higher education. We at RFI are expanding our activities from India to abroad to become global platform. As far as the Indore Management Institute group is concerned, I came to know that the institute was set up in 2008. Since the IMI is consistently creating history by giving its best to the students. Indore Management Institute Group has world-class infrastructure that facilitates excellence in teaching, research, consulting, and other professional activities. And RFI is associating to enhance these all activities. IMI has a long-standing reputation for innovation. The desire to do things differently lies in the foundation. Students are placed in companies like Jaro Education, TCS, BYJU, Pascola Value, that is Bajaj Finance Group, Axis Bank, Capital Trust, FinPay, Gati KV, and Vedantu, HDFC, ESF, Small Finance Bank, and other such reputed organizations. It is all about of your love and affection. I have been attending various FDPs, conference, seminars, webinars, workshops organized by RFI in association with different organizations from the beginning and learned a lot. As you know, learning is a never-ending process. It has been long believed that the most important resource that our institution of higher education has its faculty members who teach knowledge and skills to students. Such FDPs have proven to be successful for improving teaching skills in higher education. It produces promising outcomes in the learning and teaching practices. FDP is critical factor towards building the strong foundation of an educational system to ensure quality education. Now, it's my honor and privilege to welcome all the dignitaries, especially Mrs. Ankita Gupta, MD, IMI Group of Institutions, Indore, Mrs. Ayushi Gupta, VP Law, S&S Law College, Indore, Mrs. Nikita Pandey, Management Head, IMI Group of Institutions, Indore, Dr. Sanjay Sharma, Principal, Indore Management Institute, Indore, Dr. Reena Gupta, HOD Commerce, Indore Management Institute, Indore, Professor Rahul Joshi, HOD S&S Law College and convener of this program, Professor Abhiraj Singh Chauhan, S&S Law College and coordinator of this FDP, Professor Aditya Narayan Mishra, S&S Law College and coordinator of this FDP. I would also like to thank Dr. Pallavi Mane, Assistant Professor, IMI College, Indore, for his support. A special thanks to our beloved Dr. Saurabh Kumar Jain, Chairman and CEO RFI, who has granted permission for organizing this wonderful FDP in IMI. I am thankful to Dr. Parul Chauda, Dr. Gunjan Shukla, Professor Ajay Jain, Dr. Priyadarshini Agnihotri, and the entire RFI team, along with the participants and management of S&S Law College and IMI Group Indore. I am thankful to all who have given input in this FDP and all participants who made this FDP a successful event. The participants are not those who are sitting here, but the content of this session shall be shared through electronic media and be available for everyone with the permission of the resource person. Along with that, I would like to thank the participants, and I would like to assure that we have noted down the queries raised by you in between the various forums and will be handled shortly if any remains till now. For more information, you may contact through our official mail ID info@researchfoundationofindia.com, or you can visit our website www.researchfoundationofindia.com. Thanks for your patience for listening. Thank you again. Over to you, Gunjan ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your word of blessing and appreciation. It means a lot, sir. Now move ahead. Once a great man said, if your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. By these words, I would like to call Dr. Sanjay Sharma, sir, Principal, Indore Management Institute, Indore, to deliver some word of gratitude. Over to you, sir.
Audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible, sir.
Thank you. Sir, audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clearly audible, sir.
Now I am audible to you, sir?
Sir, you are audible, Sanjay sir.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
So very good afternoon to one and all. Well, this is a very good initiative taken by SNS Law College and RFI to conduct FDP on innovative teaching, learning, and research in law. Typically, research in law is very different from traditional one, like commerce, management, or economics. Most of the research in law is based on cases, and the result is always affected by the previous case. So the platform given by the SNS Law College and RFI is very important for the law researcher. I'm very thankful to our MD, Mrs. Ankita ma'am, our CEO, Mrs. Nikita Pandey ma'am, and BP Academic Law, Ayushi Gupta ma'am, and Chairman RFI, Saurabh Jain sir, CMD Ashok Gupta sir, for giving such a platform for the researcher. Thank you, sir. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your words of gratitude, sir. Move ahead. I would like to call Dr. Reena Gupta ma'am, HOD Commerce Department, Indore Management Institute, to deliver some words of encouragement. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, one and all. First, I congratulate to Team RFI and Team SNS Law College, an initiative of IMI Group of Institutions, for the successful conduction of this 7 days FDP. Research is indeed a boon to mankind. It has indeed a positive impact for the nation. It also gives us chance to get a sneak peek of the future and how we can change it for the better good. It is very vast in itself, but in this FDP, trainers from the various states made it very easy and understandable. FDP was very informative and educative. All the participants participated in the FDP very actively during the session. Looking forward to attend and host more such sessions for the benefit of enhancing the knowledge of all the stakeholders. Thank you. Over to you, Aditya sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your words of. Now, I would like to call Mr. Rahul Joshi, sir, HOD Law and convener of this FDP, SNS Law College Indore, to deliver some words of gratitude. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible, Aditya sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Aditya sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rahul Joshi, HOD Law Department, SNS Law College Indore. In behalf of SNS Law College, we welcome all the dignitaries of RFI and our Honorable Director, Ankita Gupta ma'am, CEO Nikita Pandey ma'am, and VP Academic Affairs Ayushi Gupta ma'am, our Principal Dr. Sanjay Sharma sir, and all the team members of SNS Law College, IMI Group of Institution, and all the participants. Welcome you all to the last day of our 7-day FDP program on innovative teaching learning methods and research in law. As we all know, in this 7-day FDP program, we learn a lot about introduction to research, research methodology in law, quantitative and qualitative methods, and legal research, statistical tools, interdisciplinary research, plagiarism and ethical research in law, report writing. In this 7-day program, I am definitely sure that you will acquire a unique knowledge in the field of legal research education. And on this last day of FDP, I express our gratitude to RFI and our Honorable Director Ankita Gupta ma'am for giving this wonderful opportunity to us. I am also thankful to Dr. Mausami Datta ma'am, Dr. Debashri Mukherjee ma'am, Dr. Rangasamy Stalin sir, Dr. Sanjay Sharma sir, Dr. Romi Saini ma'am, Dr. Archana Ranka ma'am, and last but not the least, our Research and Innovation Cell Head, Dr. Parul Sharda ma'am, for her outstanding innovation, for her outstanding contribution to the field of this would not have been possible without your cooperation. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you all the participants. After this FDP program, I think Your research success story starts here with IMI Group of Institution. Thank you so much, Team IMI, for making our event successful. Thank you so much. Over to you, Aditya Mishra, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your words of gratitude, sir. Now it's time to move ahead with the FDP technical session on day 7 on the topic report writing. This 1 week FDP was initiated on 2nd of August 2021 with great synergy, and the first 6 days ended with a wonderful learning experience under the blessing and guidance of the Chief Patrons, Mrs. Ankita Gupta ma'am, Honorable Director, IMI Group of Institutions, Dr. Saurabh Jain, Chairman, Research Foundation of India, Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, sir, Chief Managing Director, Research Foundation of India, Mrs. Nikita Pandey, ma'am, Management Head, IMI Group of Institutions, and Mrs. Ayushi Gupta, ma'am, PP Law, SNS Law College. I feel privileged to introduce our technical session resource person and expert, Dr. Parul Sarda, ma'am. Ma'am, I beg your pardon in advance if I miss out something. Dr. Parul Sarda ma'am is currently serving as an associate professor and head of management department at Indore Management Institute and Research Center, which is one of the emerging B schools of Central India. She is MCM, MBA, FT, and PhD management, and started her career as an academician since 2007. She is an enthusiastic academician with over 14 years of teaching experience in different colleges and universities. She is also having a corporate experience of 2 years with Reliance Industries, Navi Mumbai. Dr. Sarda had also been a trainer at MSME Development Institute and ATDC, Apparel Training and Design Center for budding entrepreneurs. She is a faculty of International Business, Economics, and Entrepreneurship. And she is an author of the book titled as Macroeconomics, an Indian Perspective. Dr. Sarda has published more than 40 research papers in various national and international UGC CARE and Scopus Index journals. Recently, she has presented a paper titled Joining Motives and Binding Factors for Volunteers with a non-profit initiative, an empirical study of Center for Conflict Management at Indian Institute of Management, Indore. 11th edition of Conference on the Excellence in Research and Education. She has been awarded with Teacher with Huge Potential by Research Foundation of India and World Federation of Science and Technology in 2019. Best Researcher Award in the area of management by RULA Foundation, Trichy, Tamil Nadu, and Best Presentation Award for Sustainable Development Goal by Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit 2021. She is a columnist at Free Press and News Track Live and believes that words are the more powerful weapons for teachers, which can be used to bring a positive change in the society. She has attended various conferences, workshops, and to enhance her knowledge in various fields. She is having her own YouTube channel where she provides life lessons for youth of country. Dr. Sarda has also organized various workshops, training programs, and FDPs, and is an active member working as a MP State Secretary, Research Foundation of India since last 2 years. She has shared her knowledge and expertise as a resource person and guest speaker in various institutions, including IIT Indore, Imperial College, Oriental University Indore, Acropolis Institute of Management and Research, St. Paul Institution of Professional Studies, and many more. So with these words, I would like to call Dr. Parul Sarda ma'am for taking today's session. Welcome, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Aditya sir. Am I clearly audible, Aditya sir?
Yes, ma'am, you are clearly audible.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So first of all, I would like to thank you, sir, for such a great introduction. It is always overwhelming to listen about yourself. So thank you so much once again. And I also like to thank my institution, Indore Management Institute, and also the Research Foundation of India to give me a platform to speak about what I have learned till date regarding the report writing. So first of all, I would like to share one of the thing like why we have included this particular topic, the report writing in faculty development program, because many of us are very well versed about writing the report and including all the things into the in the form of a report. So let me be very fair and tell you the reason that being a part of RFI and being a part of IMI group of institutions, we are regularly conducting the workshops and the research seminars and all. And we always come across with the various research papers and various researchers as well, wherein we find that the people know how to perform the test, people know how to conduct the literature review, they know how to write the results and interpretations, but the major missing what we find as a team is majority of the people, majorly the freshers or the people who are new to the academics, they do not know or they lack the knowledge about conducting or including all the things what they have done into their research work into a particular format. So hence, while we were framing the topics, as you can see that I am also a part of organizing committee in this particular FDP. So while we were framing the different topics, we decided to keep one topic as a report writing at the end of the day, which I felt that I could be able to justify the topic. But as the previous speakers has also suggested that the last speaker, Dr. Rumi Saini, has clearly statified that we all are not the stalwarts, not neither me nor you. We all are learning, and while the learning phase, if I miss out anything or if you find any correction in my work, you can clearly state it and or mention it in the chat box, or you can directly unmute yourself and speak on. So this was the base why we have kept this topic. Now moving ahead to the topic, being the faculty in the area of management, as Aditya sir has clearly mentioned, that I do not have any specific experience in the domain of law, but yes, I do teach the students of in the law domain in the S&S Law College, and hence I am a part of this particular FDP. And when we discuss about the report writing, the first thing which comes into my mind is the 7 C's of communication. Communication, as we all know, that it doesn't only reflects the communication as a oral communication, but also it reflects the 7 C's of writing the effective anything like the letters or the reports. So 7 C's of writing the effective research reports we will be discussing first of all. And we all are very well knowing about the 7 C's, which mentions that the first C is the clarity. That means whenever you are writing the research report, although we will be going through in the coming, in my PPT presentation, I will be clarifying, I will be sharing with you all the various points which needs to be included into the report. But first of all, the first and major thing which I find is discussing the 7 C's with you all first. So the first is clarity, in which simplicity and organizing the words so that the reader can well understood what you mean, what you are writing. That means whatever you are putting your thoughts into the words, you must be very clear while putting the thoughts. The words, the collection of words which you choose must be well understood. They must not be very technical in nature. If you want your research to be read by majority of the audience, then the language should be simple. So the first C is clarity. Second is conciseness. Conciseness means get to the point. There is no need of framing long sentences and going in the circle to write only one major point. Writing one paragraph and writing only 2 lines. So if you are mentioning your work into the 2 lines which you can mention into the long paragraph, there is no use of mentioning the long paragraphs. So be concise when you are writing your work into the research report. The third C is concreteness. Concreteness means it specifies that you must always be specific to what you are writing, to what you have got into your result analysis, or to what specific area you are talking about. So always mention the specific things instead of generalized things. So no need to mention the generalized statements, mention only the specific statements. That was the third thing. The next is always mention complete sentences. That means no or from in the paragraph or in the report. Whatever mandatory things are there, you need to include that information into your report unless it is not available everywhere. Because if it is not available, there is a option in citation we will be discussing today. You can mention N.D. That means it is not available. No date specifically is available. Likewise. The next is correctness. Correctness means whenever you are putting any data into your research report, you must always back it up with any source, any authentic source from where you have taken that data. For example, if you are taking any data from the regarding the bad debts or the NPIs, you need to mention the authentic data like the RBI.org. So correctness means you must always put the facts into your research report, but the fact should be backed by the source, the authentic source, and followed by the proofreading. You must always proofread your document before presenting it to your audience. The next is courtesy. Courtesy means you must always include the things, the words, the language which can easily be understood by the audience. So stepping into audience shoes is very much required when you are framing your report. And it must be like it must be easily accessible, or if you are putting into the paid version, then the amount, obviously it cannot be decided by only you. It must be many times it is decided by the you can say the journals who are putting your paper into their website. But if possible, upload your research work into your Google Scholar profile, so that many people can take the advantage of your research work. Then next is the last C is consideration. People who read must be considered while preparing the report. Again, you can say that it matches with the courtesy and clarity point, that whenever you are writing a report, it must match, it must be written by considering the audience into the mind. Hence, the technical language, the abbreviation should not be mentioned, and if mentioned, a proper glossary should need to be attached while you prepare the report. So this was all about the 7 C's of writing the research report. Then, as you all have attended the various sessions, the 6 sessions which have already held till date, so I would like to first ask from any one of the audience if you can reply to me in the next 30 seconds that what type of different researches you have learned in this particular FDP. Any one of you, please. What are the different types of research that has been explained by the previous speakers to you? Anyone from the audience, please?
Ma'am, interdisciplinary research.
Interdisciplinary research. Okay. What else? Okay. Can you tell me what type of research is possible in majority of the cases is possible in the area of law? Okay. So when we talk about specifically about the area of law, because when we talk about the other areas like the management or commerce, we can say that the empirical research is having more weightage. Empirical research means the research in which we perform the test, and the research in which we the primary kind of research in which we collect the data from the respondents, and then we perform the test on that. But in case of law field, in the law domain, I consider that the research is majorly being done with the help of secondary data. That means the cases which has already been happened in the past, or we can say the event analysis is being done in the area of law. Event analysis means the event or the case or the we can say the incidents that has already been happened. Based on that particular case, the researchers analyze the different types of those kinds of cases, and based on that they do the research. So we can say the types of research in the area of law are historical research, the doctrinal research, the traditional research, non-doctrinal research, socio-legal research. If you talk about the interdisciplinary research, empirical research is again the part of interdisciplinary research, inductive and deductive research, and case law analysis, we can say, and the oral advocacy, we can say, are the different types of research. But when we go for the broader category, the two main types of legal research are qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative or numerical empirical legal research involves taking information about the cases and courts, translating that information into the numbers, and then analyzing those numbers with the help of statistical tools. Hence, I can say that here the legal research and the other type of research which I can say which I am conducting in the area of management comes similar to one point, that the legal research will can also be converted into numbers and analyzing those numbers into the with the help of statistical tools. And we are also doing the research as a faculty of management, that we are analyzing the numbers with the help of statistical tools like the SPSS, the R programming, and the various other kinds of softwares. So as our previous speaker, the Dr. Sanjay Sharma, has also explained the SPSS to you. With the help of SPSS, we analyze the different, we can say, the data which we collect from the secondary or the primary data. The next question to the audience before coming into the PowerPoint presentation I would like to ask is that why report writing is essential in research. Why report writing is essential in research? Till the time I am sharing the screen, kindly confirm me if my screen is visible to you or not. Kindly confirm if my screen is visible. Aditya sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So my question to the audience was that what is the importance of report writing in research? Anyone from the audience, please? Anyone from the audience, please? What is the importance of report writing? Okay. So no answer from the audience. That means either you do not want to speak on, or either you don't know the answer. I will assume the answer number 2 and proceed with
Ma'am,
the.
there are some answers in the chat box.
Okay, you have mentioned the answers in the chat box. Abha, let me see. Case study, okay, to know the content and main theme, in short, general idea about the research like the outline. Okay. What about the research gaps? Do the research reports which you write give you an idea to perform the next research? Do the reports which you write gives you the idea about where you have missed out and what next you can, what are the next areas in which you can explore your research in the next research papers or the next research article task? Explore the different kind of research gaps while we perform the research. Okay, so I'll be reading the chat box at the end now, because as I'm presenting the screen, I cannot see you all, and I neither read the chat box as well. So as we will start formally the FDP Day 7 on report writing, and I take this opportunity to share my knowledge, what I have gained till date with you all. So when we formally proceed with the research report, I first of all would like to start with the definition of research report. And the first line I would like to quote is, try to express, not to impress. The first formula which I used to follow when I write the research report is that whenever you are writing anything, you must express yourself with the help of the facts, with the help of the data, what you have collected in your own words, and not only to impress the audience. If you will express yourself in your own words, you will automatically impress. But if you keep the objective of impressing the audience, you will no longer reach anywhere. So research is a systematic investigations into a study of natural phenomena or materials or sources or existing condition of the society in order to identify facts or to get additional information and derive new conclusions. That means a systematic investigation. Research, what research is, it is a systematic investigation, what you have learned in the past 6 days, and compiling those all the steps into a particular manner into a document is called as a research report. Or obviously you need to follow a particular you can say the format while you are writing the report that we will be discussing in the coming slides. So these are the types of reports. The general type of reports are informational reports, analytical reports, and persuasive reports. Informational reports means the reports which are meant to inform or instruct or to present your information. With the help of infographics, we usually present those kind of reports in which readers see the details of events, activities, or conditions, and no analysis of the situation, no conclusion, no recommendations has been made in the informational type of reports. You can say that the informational report is a kind of conceptual research paper, you can say, wherein you are collecting the data of the particular topic, and you are presenting, you are compiling that particular data into your own words, into a particular format. That means you are not analyzing any situation, you are just mentioning the data which is already available into a particular format and mentioning your conclusion into it. You can say the meta-analysis can be a part of informational reports. The second is analytical writing. Analytical reports are written to solve the problems, wherein the information is analyzed and conclusions are drawn and recommendations are made. Especially when you are collecting the data, or in the area of law, you can say when you are referring to the previous cases, a particular type of cases, and you are converting those into numbers, and with the help of the tools, when you are analyzing that data and drawing the conclusions and making some recommendations, those type of reports are called as analytical reports. And the last is an extension, persuasive reports. An extension of analytical report, main focus is to sell an idea, a service, or a product. Proposals are the most common type of persuasive reports. Persuasive is we can make out from this particular word is to persuade. Persuade means when you are convincing someone to buy your product or your service. So that type of report, generally the business proposals or the business plans, the loan reports, you can say, are called as persuasive reports. So we will go with the type 1 and type 2, and specifically with the type 2 when we are talking about the research reports. So when we talk about the components of research report, scientific research articles provides a method for scientists to communicate with other scientists. Here scientists means the researchers about the results of their research. Standard format is used for these articles in which the author presents the research in an orderly and logical manner. This doesn't necessarily reflect the order in which you did or thought about the work. This is the last line here makes the difference, that whenever we proceed with the research or whenever we start any research, what we thought of is different when we put in the research report. हमने जैसा सोचा था और हम जहां उसे खत्म करते हैं, जैसा हम उसे रिसर्च रिपोर्ट में लाते हैं, that is the two different things. तो हमने जैसा सोचा था कि हम उसको इस तरीके से करेंगे, जब आप रिपोर्ट राइटिंग के फॉर्म में जब फाइनल रिजल्ट आता है, that is entirely different. So this is the one major thing, which is why we need to study the, we can say, the orderly and logical manner of writing the research report. And we have also learned from the previous researchers, previous experts in this FDP, that the first thing which we need to pursue about about doing the research is what is the first step when you start the research. For example, if you have decided to pursue your research in a particular topic is decided. For example, the cyber security and the impact on the teenagers. अगर आप ऐसा कोई topic choose करते हैं, तो what is the first thing you need to do? Anyone from the audience, please? If you have attended the FDP in the last 7 days, last 6 days, you might be knowing the answer of this question, that if you have decided the topic, what is the first thing you need to do when you perform the research?
Literature review, ma'am.
Yes, very good. So, may I know your name?
Ma'am, my name is Shravani.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
The literature review is the one thing you need to do when you decide onto the topic, because literature review gives you the, we can say, the different perspectives and will make you know about where the gaps are. Literature review में हम क्या करते हैं? Literature review में we used to go through the different researches which has been done till date on the particular topic. And then when you go through the particular, all the research papers, what you find is, yes, what are the different kinds of research has been done on this particular topic, and then you identify the gap area. Because if you are doing the research on anything which has already been done, it is of no use. You must always contribute into the, you can say, into the society by putting something new or putting something innovative when you perform the research. If you are doing the thing which has already been done, it is actually of no use. Yes, it may be possible that the research that has been done on a particular state, for example, the crime rate in any research which has been done on the crime rate of, say, for example, Uttar Pradesh, then the research can be done in the Madhya Pradesh and in the other states also. But if it has been done on a UP, and again you are doing the research on the state of UP, taking some another dependent or independent variable, it may be of no use. So hence, literature review gives you the areas, you can say, or the scope where the research can be done. So here is the outline of research report. So the beginning material is title page, the abstract, the keyword list, table of contents, list of figures and tables, and the acknowledgements. After this, you need to include the chapter 1 as introduction, which will include statement of the problem, hypothesis, why it is important, objectives of the work, and scope of work. We will be again discussing in elaborative manner in the coming slides. Chapter 2 will include the background and literature review, discuss related work and indicate how it relates to report. So here, when it comes into the chapter 2, why we are doing it at first? Because literature review will frame you, will be helping you to reframe your topic. Why I have mentioned that you need to, when you have decided the topic, you need to first go to the literature review, because when you go through the literature review, you will be more clear that yes, my topic is correct, or it may happen that you need to add a particular word or you need to delete a particular word when you are framing the title of your research. So revisiting the title or revising the title can only be possible if you perform a rigorous literature review, because literature review will help you to perform your research in a more formalized manner. So chapter 2 although includes the literature review, but it needs to be performed at first.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, have you changed the slide yet? Because it is showing the first slide only.
I am at outline of research report.
Ma'am, your name is showing the first. Now it has been changed. Okay.
Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, give me a minute. Is the font size easily visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So the chapter 2, as I have mentioned, that literature review, but although it is on chapter 2, but you need to explore it at first. And when you explore the literature review, you will be getting an idea about writing the introduction. Abstract will be written at last. You will be amazed to know many of my students are also there. So you will be amazed to know that abstract is written at last and introduction is written after the literature review. Moving ahead to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is research design or procedure. What all things you have included into your research needs to be mentioned in chapter 3, which will be describing the procedure used in the project, what type of data you have used, what type of audience you have, from whom you have collected the data, how you have obtained the data, what type of research you are conducting. All the things needs to be mentioned into the research design, like the type of research, exploratory, explanatory, and the descriptive you have learnt in the RM session in this FDP only. And what should be the sample size, what is the universe, that all things needs to be mentioned into the chapter 3, that is research design. Then chapter 4 talks about the results, or you can say the data analysis. Whatever you can say the data you have collected needs to be analyzed with the help of a particular tool like SPSS, like R, like Excel. You need to perform different kind of tests so that you can reach up to a particular result, and with the help of result only you can interpret your objective or your hypothesis. So chapter 4 includes results which indicate what happened and interpret what it means. For example, if the answer is 0.05, that you need to either reject or accept the hypothesis. So results indicates what happened and interpret what it means. Then chapter 5 includes limitations of the study, which mentions the constraints of the research. Limitations of study can be either in the form of research, in like, for example, what type of constraints you have faced while performing the research, and the overall limitations can also be mentioned as a separate, you can say, for example, 5.1 in the chapter 5, you mentioned 5.1 as the limitations in the research and 5.2 as the limitations of overall research while performing the test. So like, for example, the sample size was small, or you cannot, the convenience sampling has been used. These kind of limitations can be stated into the research. Or you can say like, for example, you have performed your title reflects that you have performed the study on a national basis, like all over the India. The participants of all over the India has been taken into consideration while performing the research, but actually the data which has been collected by you doesn't signifies some of the states. So that is your limitation. The timing can be your limitation. Lack of time, lack of resources can be your limitation. So you need to specifically mention the limitations of study when you write the research report. In chapter 6 is conclusions and recommendations, which summarizes conclusions and what they mean. It should answer the question, if this has not been happened, so what? Or you can also mention the scope of further research. What changes in further work you recommend needs all to be included into the chapter 6. And at last, the chapter 7, that is implications of the study, which mention the scope of further research, the areas in which extended research can be pursued, or where your research findings can be used. For example, if I am performing the research for educational institutes, then my research will be, implication of study will be that this research is going to be, can be utilized by the educational institutes. Or for example, you are performing the research on the on any economic policy, so you can mention like this research can be used by the policy makers while framing the policies. Likewise. So now specific to the each topic, we will now moving ahead. So when we talk about the title is centered at the top of the page and only important words are capitalized. It includes a very brief statement of main variables, which includes dependent and independent in the study. So only title needs to be, how it is mentioned, it needs to be mentioned at the center. Then make the title specific enough to describe the contents of paper, but not so technical that only specialists will understand. That I have already mentioned, that you must not go very technical in language. You must be very clear in language. Use as easy words as possible when you write your research reports, so that it must be understood and it must reach to the larger audience. Title should be appropriate for the intended audience. Title usually describes the subject matter of the article. For example, effect of smoking on academic performance. So like if you are mentioning these kind of statements, that means what you are testing what is the we can say the negative effect of smoking on the academic performance, right? Sometimes sometimes the titles that summarizes the results is more effective. For example, students who smoke get lower grades. Notice that the title allows the reader that most succinct summary of main players in the experiment and the character of their relationship to each other. What title reflects? It reflects when the audience search with the help of keywords. For example, if someone is searching for the academic performance, automatically your paper which is titled effect of smoking on academic performance will reflect. So if any of the researcher is performing a research in this kind of drugs, or you can say the smoking effect on the students or the teenagers, or on, you can say, the adolescents, so these type of research papers will reflect there. So this is the importance of keywords while framing the title. Then coming to author name, the author name is centered below the title along with the name of university or research institution. Or if you are a student, then the same thing will follow. The author name is centered below and title along with the name of university or the institution to which you are a student of. The person who did the work and wrote the paper is generally listed as the first author of the research paper. And for published articles, other people who made substantial contribution to the work are also listed as authors. But in that case, you need to ask your mentor's permission, and you need to ask your the other contributors' permission when you mention their name as a co-author. And in the session of ethics, you have already been through with the various things, like you must not include the name of person who haven't have contributed into your research, even if any you can say the bully might happen to you. So there is no need to include the name of the people who have never contributed into your research work. Moving ahead, an abstract or summary is published together with the research article, giving the reader a preview of what's to come. This is used by potential readers to determine whether or not the paper is interesting enough to read. So it should be clear, concise, and complete. That is why I have mentioned that abstract should be written at the last. That means when you have drawn your conclusion, once your research report, right, starting from title to the conclusion has been prepared, then you need to frame your abstract, because abstract is a summary which will be attracting, you can say, the audience to go through your full paper, to go through your full research article. So it must be very clear, concise, and complete. It must include all the major points which you have included into your research report. So abstract should be of one paragraph of 100 to 250 words, which summarizes the purpose, methods, results, and conclusions of the paper in the short sentences. And it includes a statement of the manipulations of the independent variables and the precise of the results of the research. Do not include review of literature or theoretical background, but leave these for the introduction and discussion. So there is no need, as it has been mentioned, that it should be clear, concise, and complete. There is no need to mention the LR. If you need to mention, if it is very necessary, you find very necessary to mention about the LR or the literature review, you can just mention the numbers, how many number of research papers you have gone through while preparing this research report. Right, so it is easiest to write the abstract after the paper itself is written. A rough rule of thumb is to write an introductory sentence, then one sentence per chapter of your report, and a few sentences summarizing your most important conclusions or recommendations. So it is the rough rule of thumb, that first introductory sentence, then one sentence per chapter of your report. Like, for example, if you have 7 chapters into your research report, 7 sentences and one as the introductory, and last sentence will be summarizing your most important conclusion or recommendation, what is the outcome likewise. So don't use abbreviations or citations in the abstract. It should be able to stand alone without any footnotes. It must be only a paragraph followed by the keywords. 5 to 6 keywords you need to mention, which when someone search for your paper or the kind of paper which you write or the research reports which you write, they must get those results with the help of keywords. So here's a summary of the content of the abstract and its order of presentation. You need to mention identification of the subject, that is sample population, specification of the research design you need to mention in the next statement, then data gathering procedures, like for example, whether you have gone through the primary data analysis or the secondary data analysis. Primary means with the help of questionnaire, interview, or observation, and the secondary means what? The exploring the books, the magazines, the annual reports, or the you can say the electronic sources. You need to mention specifically the data gathering procedures, then summary of the results and findings, including statistical significance level. Whenever you are mentioning any statistical tool, for example, the Excel or the SPSS, you need to mention that at how much significance level you are testing your result. Like for example, at the 1% significance level or at 5% significance level. Generally, these two significance levels are popular in empirical research. Hence, I am mentioning only these two, 1 and 5% significance level. And the last is report on the inferences made or comparison drawn from the results. This also needs to be included into the abstract itself, so that the reader gets attracted to towards your abstract and would read your full research report. Right. Next is introduction. When we write the introduction, I hope the part till abstract is very clear to everyone, and we will be discussing further in the Q&A session at the end. Introduction, center the word introduction on the page, or you can flush it to the left also. It is as per the you can say the person who is writing the report's choice, or it can be as per the guidelines to which journal you are submitting your research work. So many times you need to, although it is always mandatory to follow the guidelines which has been mentioned into the journal to which you are submitting your research paper. So this, time to time the guidelines may change. Sometimes they want the headings at the center, and sometimes they want the all the headings to the left, flush it to the left and send it to the submit according to the guidelines. And sometimes the justification, the justified the justification needs to be required. That means the same at both the ends, the center at the center, and justified alignment is required. So a reader of the introduction should be able to answer the following questions, although not in any depth. What is the research about? Your introduction should reflect what is the research about, why it is relevant or important to pursue this research. Also be answered through your report. What are the issues or problems you have solved in this particular research report must also reflect through the introductory part. And what is the proposed solution or approach you are providing? What can one expect in the rest of the research must also be included into the introductory part. So these all, whenever you are clear with all these things, with all these, you can say the 5 questions, you can say that your introduction part is ready. That means if you are clear in your mind that you need to focus on what research about, why is it relevant, what are the issues you are handling, what is the problem statement you are solving, and what are the solutions and alternative solutions you are providing to complete the research. So all these things, when you compile, it will form your introductory part. You tell the reader that what the problem is, what question you will try to answer, and why it is important. It might be important for practical reasons or for theoretical reasons, but do not neglect either type of the reason. We must, while we write the report, we must always consider each reader as a new and nascent reader. I must say that whenever you write the research report, think that the person who is reading your report is reading this kind of report for the first time. So that means you need to include from the very basic concept to the elaborative concept when you move ahead with your research report. Moving ahead, introduction should leap up to and conclude with a statement of how you intend to approach your question and why your approach is an improvement on past efforts. Past efforts means what? The literature review, what you have done yet, right? This is essentially what is new about your approach and your particular contribution. You can think of introduction as a description of the psychological issues that you are going to investigate. If, for example, you are writing any research report on the psychological issues, so a description of psychological issues you are going to investigate, a discussion of the research questions or hypothesis that you are examining, and a reference to other studies which have results which bear on your research project, whether they are in the same direction or your hypothesis or in the opposite direction. What this point number 3 is mentioning here is that you can mention the other research work which you find are same as yours as a citation, including the citation. For example, if I am mentioning that yes, there is a negative impact of you can say the higher screen time on the teenagers during the COVID scenario, and if this statement is similarly been used in the previous research, you can write this sentence and mention the citation of that particular research after this sentence. How to cite, I will explain you the procedure of citation in the coming slides. Then the final paragraph should include a more specific definition of your variables, independent and dependent, and a clear statement of the predictions based on the ground information that you have presented. So hence, by this, you are going to complete your introductory part. After final paragraph, include research question, that what is the research all about, you need to mention, or the problem statement you can say, you need to mention. Then objective of the research, as in the session of Dr. Sanjay Sharma, he has clearly mentioned that all these 3 things, the research question, the objective of research, and hypothesis of research are interrelated. So what you have, what research question you have, based on that you need to mention, you need to frame your objectives, and based on your objectives you need to frame your hypothesis of the research. Hypothesis can be either the null hypothesis, which is reflected by H01, and the alternative hypothesis, which is being mentioned as H11. So your hypothesis should never appear to come out of nowhere or to be derived from personal opinion or preference. ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं लगना चाहिए कि आप ऐसा सोचते हैं इसीलिए आपने ये हाइपोथेसिस फ्रेम की है. Your hypothesis should always be backed by the objective, and the objective should be backed by the research question. And from where the research question has come from? It has come from the literature review. लिटरेचर रिव्यू को पढ़ने के बाद आपको ये पता चला कि गैप कहाँ था, उसी गैप के अकॉर्डिंग आपने अपने इंटरेस्ट के अकॉर्डिंग, आपके डोमेन एरिया के अकॉर्डिंग आपने रिसर्च क्वेश्चन आइडेंटिफाई किया या स्टेटमेंट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम यू हैव मेंशन्ड. So while formulating the hypothesis, ask yourself, what variables am I experimenting or manipulating? मतलब independent variable कौन सा है? What results do I expect? Dependent variables कौन से हैं? Why do I expect these results? The rationale of these expectations should be made explicit in the light of your review of research and statement of theory or problem statement or research question. So whenever you frame your hypothesis, you must always ask the questions about the dependent variable, about the independent variable, and about the result expectation which you have thought of will come when you perform or complete your research. Then moving ahead to literature review, the chapter 2 LR is a review of work related to the problem you are attempting to solve. As I have already mentioned that this needs to be rigorously being done. On an average, you must go through at least 50 to 100 research papers before writing one research paper of your area. 50 is the minimum research papers you must always go through. Read those research papers, get the idea how to write the research reports, get the idea where the problem, what are the different kind of problems that has been solved related to your topic, and then only you can identify the gap or the potential areas where you can attempt your research. So it should identify and evaluate past approaches to the problem. It should also identify similar solution to yours that have been applied to other problems, not necessarily or directly related to one you are solving. It may happen that when you go through the LR or the literature review, it might be possible that some of the research works are entirely different from yours, but are related somewhere to your topic. You must also go through those research papers because it will give you the different purview that yes, this is also the area I can go into it. This is also the area I can pursue my research work into. In addition to the obvious purposes indicated, it also can serve to justify that the problem exists by sample and argument, motivate interest in your work by demonstrating relevance and importance, identify the important issues, and provide background to your solution. In short, you can say that literature review give you the confidence that you can pursue your research in this particular topic. If you find the related research papers which you think that you want to continue or pursue in, it will give you or it will boost your morale that yes, this kind of research has already been done. You need to only find out the potential gap and pursue your research. Research methodology, moving ahead, this section can be thought of as a cookbook section of the paper by the various researchers usually look into only the part of research methodology and can identify that how dedication you have put into your research work, what type of dedication you have put into your research work. Therefore, it should be complete, detailed and clear enough to allow other investigator or to understand how you ran your experiment. This section is written in past tense always because the test has already been happened and you are writing the research report at the later time. The method section is generally easy to write. You simply describe what you did and how you did and when you did it. आपको सिर्फ ये लिखना होता है कि आपने क्या, कैसे और कब किया है. So type of research you need to mention whether exploratory, descriptive or explanatory. Then sampling unit, आपका sample कौन था, who is your sample, from whom you have collected the data, from where you have collected the data, you need to write the sources. Specifies who participated in the study. If it is a primary data, it is described according to age, gender and other relevant social or demographic considerations. And then moving ahead to sample size, what is the total number of respondents you have interviewed or sent the questionnaire, or what is the correct figure you have received of the filled and corrected questionnaires. So that is the sample size, and sample size is decided with the help of, you can say, the The table is also available, and there is a formula which is also available, in which you need to put the universe, the size of universe, and you can calculate that what should be the appropriate sample size required to pursue your research. Then data collection, report how the subjects were selected for the experiment, or subjects means the sample were selected for the experiment, and how the chosen subject were assigned to groups. For example, was some sort of randomization technique, random technique, or the convenience sampling has been used, or some other method as necessary. So you need to specifically mention the data collection methodology which you have adopted, whether primary or secondary, what kind of strategy you have adopted. You need to clearly state in the form of sentences. Tools of data testing, this subsection gives a brief description of tools such as SPSS or the R programming or the Excel, how and what all tests included for the data testing. You need to clearly mention about the tool, and then why you have taken this tool, and then what test you have applied. For example, it may be possible that only with the help of t-test you have, for the t-test only you have used SPSS, or for the factor analysis you have used SPSS. So why SPSS, why factor analysis, and how factor analysis has helped in analyzing your research, that you need to clearly mention. Then the next is data analysis and interpretation. Do not begin on a new page unless a space consideration required it. Why I am mentioning these small things here is because these are the things which are actually creating a wrong image of the researcher, that people are starting data analysis and interpretation from the new page even if it is not required. So do not begin on a new page. The data analysis interpretation is a part of the research report, and it is not required to start it from the new page. So this is obviously where you present the results of your experiment to the reader. The result section is also written in the past tense because it has already been happened. This section summarizes the data and the statistical treatment of them. If the data is relatively simple, there is no need to include the tables or figures that from where you have calculated. You can just put them in the annexure part at the end of the, after the references, at the end of your research report writing. Summarize the main idea of your findings and report them whether or not your hypotheses have been confirmed. Present the results in the same order as you have made your predictions in the introduction, and do so in the simple sentences. Again, I am repeating the simple sentences because it is very much required to reach up to the larger audience. If you wish to mention, or if it is very mandatory to put the tables into your research report, then the tables are placed in the results section of the paper or the data analysis section of the paper. If it is mandatory, and if there are more tables, you can just put the table number and put the original tables into the annexure or in the appendix, annexure 1 or appendix 1 and appendix 2. And if there are only 2 or 3 tables, like for example, when we perform the SPSS test, or when we only perform the factor analysis, you need to, the first mandatory requirement is the reliability table, the Cronbach alpha U test. So the first table you can put is Cronbach alpha, the second is KMO and Bartlett, which is very much required for the factor analysis, and third is the factor table. So only 3 tables are required in case of factor analysis, so you can include it into the data analysis section itself. But if you are performing regression also, you are performing correlation also, you are identifying mean also, so there will be more number of tables into your data analysis and interpretation part, and it would look congested in that particular part. So it is better to include those tables and only use the numbers like table 1.1 hyphen annexure 1, and you can mention those tables into your result part. Then moving ahead to tables, figures. What has been said of tables applies generally to the figures of the result section as well. Figures are graphs, charts, or illustrations. The caption is placed below the figure instead of the above. The word figure 1 appears first, followed by the caption. Only the first word of the caption is capitalized. If there is enough space, you may place it on the same page as text, but a separate page should otherwise be used, especially for the publishing purposes. And remember to place the dependent variable. This is the most important point I can say when we are mentioning about the figures. Remember to place the dependent variable on the vertical axis and follow the rules for correct calibration of the data. Both axes should be clearly labeled. If you are mentioning x and y axis, both should be clearly mentioned, that what x signifies, what y signifies, and graph lines too when appropriate. Moving ahead to discussion, do not use a new page unless it is necessary. Again, there is no need to use the new page. It is a good idea to bring in the discussion with a summary of the results for the benefit of the reader who want to skip the result section. So yes, in some of the cases, you can say that the research reports covers the result part as the separate chapter, findings of the research. Data analysis and interpretation as the single chapter. In many of the research reports, you can find the result chapter as a separate chapter, and the what I can say is the findings of the research as the another chapter. So it is up to the researcher what he or she wish to, and what kind of chapter bifurcation he needs to put in. Discussion you can say the discussion is the chapter or is the area where you can mention your own views about the result which has come out with the help of your test, and your discussion section should refer back to those studies you mentioned in your introduction. Whatever you have studied in your literature review or whatever you have studied in your introduction part, you can back those previous researches to your current result. For example, the test of your result says that there is a significant impact of the number of hours students sit in front of screen in the COVID scenario. There is a significant negative impact on the vision of these students. If your result is like this, so if the previous research has been done in this manner and it supports your result, you can mention after your statement, you can mention that this result has been supported by the previous research. Mention the name of author followed comma, the year of publication, and you can cite that particular reference and include that reference into the reference section. How it needs to be done, we will surely discuss in the upcoming slide. Another good tactic is to suggest ideas for further research, future research experiments in this area. In discussion part, you can also suggest the areas of further research experiments. One that follows the study you have done, improve upon it. For example, you could suggest how to further explore a finding you discovered, suggest how to discover why you got different results from the other researchers, etc. So in discussion part, you can write all the gaps, you can say, or you can say the limitation which you have faced, and you can extend it to by including the sentences like the result can be further extended by doing the research in this particular area. So this is also a good preparation of writing the abstract. Remember, the discussion section will make or break your paper. Put a lot of thought into it and try to draw sophisticated conclusions from the data. The discussion section will show deductive thinking routines involved in the experimental work. So how much dedication, how much thinking routine you have applied, whether from generalized to specific or from specific to generalized thinking routine you have followed, it will all be going to reflect through your discussion part. The last is references. This is the last section and it should confirm the APA style. The APA style, the American Psychological Association style, which is very much popular in while we write the research reports or the research papers. A reference list cites works that are publicly available. This section is always placed on a separate page, obviously, because references is a part which needs to be, which refers all the secondary data from where you have taken the content from or from where you have referred your content from, maybe the books, the magazines, the symposiums, the journals, or the research articles. So work cited in the text of your experiment must appear in the reference list, and conversely, each entry in the reference list must be cited in your text. There must be no single word or sentence, if you have taken from any research paper, must be cited. If you are not citing the research work, it is unethical way of writing the research paper. So since reference lists are intended for the use of reader, they must be accurate and complete. A reference list consists of the broad subsections as author, date of publication, title, and publication data. How you can write the APA style referencing? So the publication manual of American Psychologist Association 6th edition of 2014 mentions the format in which the APA style referencing can be done, and you can log into www.apastyle.org for the more information and for more data on the APA style, which provides a comprehensive reference guide to writing using APA style, organizing the content, and writing the content in a particular methodical manner. The purpose is that all members of an academic department can adopt as a minimal standards for any assignment that specifies APA style. Even in our institute, we insist our students also to write the research reports, the major research projects in the APA style, so that they can pursue their research part by following the APA style. The reference section, pagination, it should begin on the new page, heading references centered on the first line below the running head, or it can be flushed to the left. Format the references with hanging indent, begin before the line following the references heading. Entries are organized alphabetically by surnames of the first authors. Most reference entries have been following components. You must always follow, it is very mandatory to put the references in alphabetical order by the surnames of the first author, right? Authors are listed in same order as specified in the source using surnames and initials. One thing I have missed out while I was explaining the literature review, that whenever you are mentioning the literature review, it either must go in the chronological order, like for example, the recent research which has been done should be included at the first, and then the old researches must be followed. Either this way, or either by the chronological order of the research topic. For example, if I am talking about the education reform, so I must talk about the recent education reform, like the national education policy, and then following back, I will be going through the literature review. So in that case, the years will not be going to included into the chronological order. But if you are maintaining the chronology of the years, you must go and then go to the oldest when you are mentioning the LR part. So coming back to the references part, it should be in the alphabetical order. Year of publication in parenthesis, following authors with a period following the closing parenthesis. If no publication date is identified, use ND. This I was mentioning in the previous, at the starting of my session, that if you are if the date to which the the thing you are mentioning into your research work, if the date is specific date is not mentioned, you can mention in your research work, you can mention N.D. in parenthesis following the author, that the specific date you could not find out the specific date for that particular work. Okay. Then source reference includes title, journal, volume, pages, or title, city of publication, publisher, italicized titles of books and titles of periodicals and periodical volume numbers. Electronical retrieval of information can also be put. We usually do this. We electronically retrieve the information through the Google or the various you can say the electronic sources. Electronic retrieval information may include digital object identifiers, DOIs, sorry, or uniform resource locators, URLs. DOIs are unique alphanumeric identifiers that lead users to digital source material. You just copy and paste that URL and write accessed on which date. For example, if I am accessing any data today, then I will copy and paste that data into the references section, and I will write accessed on 9th August 2021 at 16:15 p.m. Likewise, you can mention the reference into your reference section when you are accessing through the internet directly. Kindly pardon me for a minute. Okay, so here as I was telling that we will be discussing about the various examples of the sources also. So if you are mentioning the digital object identifier, then journal article with DOI. Likewise, you can mention the author's surname, the first letter of the name, and if there are two authors, then and followed by the second author's surname, comma the first alphabet of the author's name. The research paper is written on in the title of the research, body language of women and judgments of vulnerability to sexual assault, full stop, Journal of Applied Social Psychology in italics, the name of journal, comma 26, the volume 26, comma the page number starting from 1617 to 1626. So this will suffice the requirement of AP style when you are accessing the data or you are mentioning the reference. Journal article without DOI or print version. If it is a print version, then first the surname, the first letters of the name. 1990 is the year of publication. Research on religion and mental health in the later life is the title. A review of commentary is the title. Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry is the journal in italics, comma 23 is the volume, and 2353 is the page number. Without DOI and retrieve, you have retrieved the online. Other things remain same, which we have discussed in the point number 1 and 2. Only it will be, you need to mention the URL. You need to mention the copy and paste the URL and paste it. Retrieved from where? So it is retrieved from this particular website. So you need to at the end of is from, then the surname, the first letters of the name, year of publication, Invitation to the Psychology of Religion, the book, second edition, book is of second edition, you need to specifically mention the edition also. Boston MA is the publication, Allen and Baskin is the sub-publication. Likewise, you need to mention the book reference. Informally published web document, so like this way, the mention of surname with the first letter capital of the author's name, year of publication, and APA style essentials. The only thing you need to mention about the title of the informally published document. Informally published web document, no date, ND is mentioned, then Nelson, ME, ND you have mentioned, ND, why you have mentioned? Because you could not get the specific date for this particular article, but you find it very relevant to include it into your research work. So if you wish to include it into your research work, but you could not find the specific date, you can put like N dot D dot in the parenthesis and then followed by the rest of the format as we have already discussed. Likewise, abstract from secondary database, the name and surname followed by the year in the parenthesis, the name of the title of the your research work, title of the journal, volume, page numbers, abstract retrieved from where, you need to mention likewise. So I hope these examples are very much clear. On the citation part. Now, general document guidelines are margins. These are also the areas which needs to be very much considered when you write the report, and this like we say that now that whenever we see the first impression is the last impression is a kind of thing which we see from the reports also. So whenever you are submitting the first draft even to your mentor or your research guide, you must at least follow these general document guidelines. Even if you are not doing the empirical part on your own or the other part on your own, but whatever raw data you are collecting and presenting it to the first time to your guide or to your mentor, you must at least minimal requirement is to follow these general document guidelines. Margins 1 inch on all the sides, top, bottom, left, right. Font size and type, always it's a formal document. You can say the standard format 12 point and Times New Roman font, only the black color. Line spacing, double space throughout the paper, including the title pages, abstract, body of the document, references, appendices, footnotes, tables and figures. Spacing after the punctuation, space 1 after comma, colons and semicolons within sentences. Insert 2 spaces after punctuation marks that end sentences. Alignment, flush left or center or justified. Read the guidelines for the paper submission, as I have already mentioned. Yeah, if there is nothing mentioned into the guidelines, you can either go with the justified alignment or with the left alignment. Then paragraph indentation, 5 to 7 spaces. Pagination, the page number appears 1 inch from the right edge of the paper on the first line of the every page. Running head is a short title that appears at the top of the page of the paper, जो कि हम header में insert करते हैं. The thing which we insert into your header is the running head, which appears on each page, on the top of the each page, right? The running head should not exceed 50 characters, including punctuation and spacing. Using most word processors, the running head and page number can be inserted into a header, which can automatically appears on all the pages. Always use active voice when you write the paper. As a general rule, use the active voice rather than passive voice. For example, we always use we predicted that rather than it was predicted that. So you are although the research, all the literature review has already happened, but you are conducting the research now, so we must use the active voice rather than passive voice. Order of pages will be title page, abstract, body of the text, references, footnotes, tables, figures and appendices. So in-text citations, as I was talking about, that when you are mentioning the discussions or when you are mentioning the introduction, if you wish to mention any text citation, if you find that the line which you are writing matches with one of the previous author, what you can do then? It will then go into the plagiarism. But if you cite the reference, it will not go into the plagiarism. So when the names of the authors or a source of part of formal structure of sentence, the year of publication appears in parentheses following the identification of authors. This is the example. Likewise, you can mention the work in text citation. In the paragraph only, you need to only write the name of the authors followed by the year. Found that although there was a reduction in insulin, likewise, you need to mention according to your research work. So in-text citation is also appreciated when you are writing the research work. If the work which you are doing, you can say the matches with the previous work, right? So when the source has 2 authors is cited, both authors are included every time in the source is cited. When the source, when 2 authors name are cited, both the authors are included every time the source is cited. For example, the Sharda and Parul both are the 2 different authors. Then if you are citing again and again the research work of the Sharda and Parul, you need to mention both the names every time. Sharda, Parul, in the parenthesis the year of research, and you need to cite every time. But if the source has 3, 4 or 5 authors is cited, all the authors are included for only the first time source is cited, and then you need to mention the first author followed by HL. As it is mentioned, as I am highlighting it here, that if you are mentioning it for the first time, if the authors are 3, 4, or 5, for the first time during the citation, you need to mention all the names followed by the year. And after that, whenever you are mentioning that research work, you need to only mention the surname of the first author, et al. Dot, and in the parenthesis year, continue with the sentence. And when the source has 6 or more authors is cited, the first author's name only, the first author's surname only, and et al. Are used every time in the sources cited, including the first time. Right? So, and to cite the web document, if you are citing any web document, use the author date format. If no author is identified, use the first few words of the title in place of the author. If no date is provided, use ND in place of the date. Consider the following examples. These are the examples, like Jagelman in 2009 summarizes guidelines for the use of AP writing style, changes in Americans, views of gender status, differences have been documented, where gender in society, comma, ND. Why ND? Because no date has been identified. But you find this particular work to be mentioned into your research, and if you write these kind of sentences and you are not mentioning the citation, that will go into the plagiarism case, right? Moving ahead, footnotes. Content footnotes are occasionally used to support substantive information in text. You can either add the footnotes after each page if required, and or you can add the footnotes at the end also. A content footnote may be placed at the bottom of page or on which it is discussed, or on a separate page following the references. Like pagination, footnotes begin on a separate page. Heading, footnotes is centered on the first line below the running head. Format, indent the first line of the each footnote 5 to 7 spaces and number the footnotes slightly above the line as they are identified in the text. If the footnotes you are mentioning in the content, if they are mentioned specifically into the text, it is advisable to mention the footnotes on that page itself rather than at the end of the research paper. Some basic rules: write accurately. Scientific writing must be accurate. Make sure you say what you mean. What you are writing, you must mean it. Instead of the rats were injected with a drug, write I injected the drug into the rat. Be careful with commonly confused words. Less food, can't count numbers of food. Fewer animals, can't count number of animals. A large amount of food, can't count them. A large number of animals, can't count them. So we must not use the confused words. Write the specific number of items that you are testing. Write the specific number of audience that you are testing. Write clearly, write at the levels, write at a level that is appropriate for the audience that I have already mentioned, the courtesy and the clarity. Avoid dangling with the participles. Has been, being, been. Avoid using these type of words when you write the research paper. Write succinctly. Use verbs instead of abstract nouns. Instead of take into consideration, write consider. I consider this research as likewise. Or rather, people usually write taking into consideration so and so. So we must avoid these kind of sentences. Take into consideration, we must write consider. Be specific to what you are writing. Use strong words instead of to be. Instead of the culprit was found to be active agent in crime. What we needs to be right? The culprit is a criminal. If your test is, if the past researchers are supporting these kind of crimes are taken to be in stating a person to be a criminal, why to hesitate mentioning the person as a criminal? Use short and concise words. Instead of possess, write have. Sufficient, write enough. Instead of utilize, write use. Instead of demonstrate, write show. Instead of assistance, write help. Instead of terminate, write end. Instead of prior to, write before. Instead of due to the fact that, write because. Instead of in a considerable number of cases, write often, a very small word. Instead of the vast majority of, write most. instead of during the time that has been done, write when, instead of in the close proximity to, write near. So by using these words, you can make your research report more effective and more technical, you can say, as far as the clarity in the language is concerned. Use short sentences. A sentence made of more than 40 words should probably be rewritten as a 2 sentences. So if the sentence, you think that the sentence is exceeding to 40 words, in fact, you must not go to the higher limit of 40 words. Even you must rewrite the sentence and break it into 2 if you wish to. And also you can avoid writing the long sentences if the unnecessary words are been included into that particular sentences. Check your grammar, spelling and punctuation. This is the most common mistake we as a researchers do. We must always go for the spell check twice and thrice, the grammar check. There are many applications nowadays available which you can use to for the spell check and grammar. Use a spell checker or Grammarly, but be aware that they don't catch all the mistakes. Sometimes they correct the mistakes which actually are the technical words of your research paper. So we must be aware when you are using these applications. So don't use unnecessary commas. Proofread carefully to see if any words are out. And last activity which I usually recommend to all my students when I used to teach this particular topic is read out loud. When your 2 senses are involved, your ears and eyes are involved, you yourself find out the mistake into your punctuation and your grammar. So now we come to the last part of this particular session. Let's revise. We need to include the title, we need to include the acknowledgement, preface of the research, that what this research all about, then declaration certificate, that yes, I have conducted this research on my own and this doesn't include any copied material by the student or by the researcher, and then by the guide. Then abstract summarizes the report including the hypothesis, procedures and major findings. Then introduction, we have already discussed. Then review of literature, in which all the past researchers needs to be revised. And introduction will also include the problem statement, the objectives of the study and the hypothesis of study. And then chapter 2 followed with the review of related literature. Then the statement of hypothesis we have already covered. Then design of the study. Design of study, we need to include the research design, which will go with the sample size, the sampling unit, the tools of data collection, and the tools which you have used, the sources of data, and all the sampling procedures you have followed for collecting the data. Then methods and instruments of data gathering, analysis of data, that what tools, what tables you have used for the analysis of data, followed by the summary and conclusions. Then recommendations you can include. At the end, you can also include the endnotes, bibliography or references. You can nowadays the reference section is widely being adopted, and in the reference section there are 2 bifurcations usually people do. First is the bibliography, the bibliography, and the second is the bibliography they include. So all the online data which they fetch from the online data sources, they included into the bibliography part, and the books and the magazines part, the researchers include into the bibliography part. Or in general, you can just include in the alphabetical order, and you can just put one heading as references also. This is also usually that are not totally central to the analysis, but that need to be included are placed in the appendix. So these was the my learning from the research report writing that I have shared with you all. I hope I have justified with the topic, and I will seek your pardon if anything I have missed out. If any questions you can ask. Aditya sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Aditya sir, are you there? Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a wonderful session. We are so grateful for having witnessed excellent session through your words and wisdom, ma'am. It's absolutely amazing, ma'am, the way you
Any type
explain
of
everything.
questions if students have?
Yes, ma'am. I believe many of the doubts are already clear, but I still open the questionnaire. If anyone wants to ask any question, then they can unmute themselves and ask their questions to ma'am directly.
I will try to send one paper, one research paper into the group, so that you can all refer to that particular paper and follow or take it as a reference while you prepare your research paper or research article or any research report. Any questions? Or shall we proceed to the end of the session?
Yes.
I also would like to invite you, being the organizing committee member, I would also like to invite you to witness our tomorrow's national conference, which will be starting at 11:30 a.m. in the morning, and in which many of the renowned speakers from all over the country will be witnessing the conference tomorrow, in which we have the esteemed Supreme Court advocate and the chairman of Global Health Affairs with us. Dr. Anthony Raju will be addressing the session as a keynote speaker, and also we will be having the Mr. A.K. Sethi sir, who is a president of IMI Group of Institutions, as well as senior High Court advocate, and also for the various academicians, the Devashish the Chatterjee madam, who have addressed the FDP, and also we will be having Dr. Archana Ranka with us. So you will be enlightening. That will be the enlightening session for you. Hope to see you tomorrow at 11:30. If you do not wish to, go for paper presentation or the submission of the research articles, that will your choice. But I will, being the associated with you all in the last 7 days, including today. It is my privilege to have you all tomorrow in the national conference also. So hope to see you all in the tomorrow's conference session. The schedule and the link will be sent in the same group to which you are associated right now. Thank you so much.
Ma'am,
Over to you, Aditya sir.
I would like
Yes,
to ask
Shivani.
a question.
Yes, please.
First of all, that was an amazing session, ma'am. I just have a query that as you have informed us about in-text citation, then ma'am, will it be not necessary to cite that again in the end? If we cited that already.
No reference, Shivani. When you are putting a in-text citation, like for example, if I am stating anything and it goes in the that particular sentence is being supported by the previous researcher, then you can mention the name of that researcher, and you need to mention the reference of that particular research work into the reference section. In the reference section, the link must be there of that to which journal you have taken that particular idea from. So citation is avoid the plagiarism, as well as being the academician, you must always adopt the ethical practices when you write the research paper. I hope I am clear with the answer, Shivani.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Aditya sir, can we proceed?
Thank you. And is it any other questions? Is there any other questions? Okay.
In case of any more questions, you can put the questions into the WhatsApp group also, or you can write the questions into to the info@researchfoundationofindia.com. We will be happy to assist you all. And as I've said that I will be posting one research paper as a reference into the group itself, so that you can take the reference while you frame your own research paper.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
As a time is not allowing me, I would like to call Mrs. Pallavi Mane ma'am for today's vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are clearly audible.
A very good afternoon to one and all. It is my honor and privilege to have asked to propose a vote of thanks on the occasion of this event. It is rightly said that feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. On behalf of SNS College, I, Assistant Professor Dr. Pallavi Mane, would like to thank our respected and most distinguished speaker of the day, Dr. Parul Charda ma'am. It was indeed a privilege to have Dr. Parul Charda ma'am, eminent and renowned personality, as a guest lecturer on the 7th day of the FDP program. Her insightful lecture was on report writing. Ma'am has very well explained how report writing helps as a path to solve problems. Writing a report guides you in a way, modernized details about improvements and upcoming plans. Even we, the academicians, were enlightened by your enlightening talk. I feel teachers, professors, and participants who attended this lecture will be able to extract best results in their research and all the students by applying the tips in their research projects. Once again, I thank you, ma'am, for having spared your precious time for all of us. Thank you. I would also like to extend my gratitude to our Honorable Director, Mrs. Ankita Gupta ma'am, our respected management head, Mrs. Nikita Pandey ma'am, respected VP Academic Affairs, Mrs. Ayushi Gupta ma'am, who graced this event, and also for having organized this wonderful FDP program. Your encouragement and support made this event successful as it always does. A special thanks to Dr. Saurabh Jain, RFI, Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, CMD RFI, and Professor Ajay Jain, Head Central India Board RFI, for being a source of inspiration and sponsoring this event. Also, I would like to thank our respected Principal Dr. Sanjay Sharma sir, HOD Law Professor Rahul Joshi sir, and HOD Commerce Dr. Reena Gupta ma'am for their contributions in amplifying our knowledge and letting us connect to the world of consciousness. And in the last, I'm really very thankful to all the participants, the students, for joining us in this stream of knowledge flowing through SNS Law College. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pallavi ma'am. And we all will be meeting in a hope tomorrow at 11:30. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.